Welcome everybody to ITBBerlin, to the ITB convention, a digital convention, but it's fine to be together digitally as well. I'm very happy to have a little session introducing the winners of last year's Social Entrepreneurship in Tourism competition, a competition which was made possible by Travel Massive, the Eberswalde University for Social Development, SINA, which is a social innovation academy out from Uganda, and the TUI Care Foundation, and of course, ITB Berlin. So welcome to our session. Let me introduce you first to my wonderful guests. We have Grizelda Lecoq from Khwela Women from South Africa. Welcome, Grizelda. And we have Dr. Yasmine Gray from Get About Able, all the way from Australia. Before we start, just welcome. Before we start, just some words about the competition itself. So for those people who do not know it yet, the Social Entrepreneurship Competition in Tourism is the first worldwide competition focusing really on social innovation and entrepreneurship in tourism and hospitality. It was founded in 2019. And applicants must have a social or environmental mission on the core of their business plan. And by giving social entrepreneurs from around the world access to expertise and international visibility, this competition aims to empower entrepreneurs and communities in travel destinations. Like this, it aims to accelerate their growth and provide them with access to the market. That's what we try to do. So when you win, we will help you to get access to the market. So last year, of course, given the global challenge due to COVID, the focus was also on supporting social tourism entrepreneurs and their efforts to help the sector recover and shape a sustainable future for tourism in the destinations. In 2021, we had already 132 applicants from 52 countries. That's pretty international, and 70%, which is also a very good rate, were female startups. So the structure of the competition follows the spirit, of course, of the UN 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and entries must support the SDGs. And the SDGs our applicants last year referred to the most were, interestingly, decent work and economic growth, sustainable cities and communities, and reduced inequalities. So very important goals, of course. So when you win, you will get from SINA and also from the University in Eberswalde mentoring and coaching for up to 10 finalists. So I think it's a good thing to go for it. Before we finish, I will give you again the link so that you can maybe apply next year. But before we all do that, we have to start now honoring our winners from last year. So we have always a launch track and we have an established track. So the winner of the launch track, that's for innovative ideas to be converted or implemented in the near future, last year went to Nomadic culture, to the Nomadic culture camp in Mongolia. It's called Kushvegi English and Nomadic Camp. The idea is that families of eagle hunters in Mongolia invite you to join their camp, stay in homestays, the yurts, and learn about herding and nomadic life, and teach English in exchange to young nomads who are interested. So this will happen only once a year because, of the harsh climate in Mongolia, and it will be 30 days from June to July. And it's always happening during the Eagle Festival. And there are a lot of tourists already coming to that Eagle Festival, I think from 23 countries. So that's interesting. So we can't introduce you to Marinelle, unfortunately, because Marinelle, who is the co-founder, Marinelle de Jesus, is hiking on the Sinai Trail at this very moment, so she can't be there. But we are going to show you the video, which was the video with which she applied for the award. So please, let us see the video.
Hi, my name is Marinelle, and I'm the co-founder of Kuspeki English and Nomadic Culture Camp. There's no doubt the pandemic has changed us tremendously. This was me last year in Mongolia as a stranded tourist and a tour operator. It was a terrifying time to be alone and not know the language. However, 294 days later, I left Mongolia feeling completely transformed as a tourist and a tour operator. I lived with the nomads and celebrated life. The slow travel experience taught me to forge genuine relationships with the locals. In fact, it felt like I became one of them, a nomad. However, when we look at the current narratives in the tourism industry, we see something different. In 2019, the Eagle Festival attracted 2,000 tourists from 23 countries. The mass tourism led to a click and go cultural tourism, which is extractive because there's no culture exchange between travelers and locals. Also, due to language barriers, there's a lack of community storytellers and tourism ownership. This leads to outside agencies benefiting the most by bringing tourists and hiring guides who are from outside the community. This is a prime example of an inauthentic travel experience. To create genuine connections with the locals, we created Kuzvegi English and Nomadic Culture Camp. Kuzvegi is a community led slow travel initiative allowing you to live as a nomad with eagle hunters while teaching English to young nomads as a way to give back to the community. In fact, Kuzvegi is about real life experiences, how to be a nomad and celebrate life. In our camp, you'll experience the Mongolian landscapes, live in a nomadic house, experience local food and conversations, textiles and handicrafts, herding and nomadic migration, and of course, eagle hunting led by the eagle hunters themselves. As a teacher, you will teach a group of students so you can connect with them as part of your transformational travel experience. You will teach outdoors in an agur camp using interactive English learning. And the best part? Your students are eagle hunters. This is 10-year-old Almudir, a female eagle huntress who won the eagle hunting competition last year. For our primary funding, travelers will be paying for the experience to fund our school and activities. Secondary funding will come from donors to fund our museum and library and scale the project. Our go to market strategy will utilize the power of storytelling with the media by partnering with travel writers and publications, hosting virtual meets, and targeting certain groups. For impact strategy for the community, we want to foster a new generation of English speaking locals and create language equity. We want to preserve eagle hunting traditions and nomadic culture by initiating the very first museum and library that will benefit both tourists and locals. For the tourists, we want them to have a transformational travel experience and long term connection with locals. They will become returning guests so they can create access to tourism and global knowledge for the eagle hunting community. We are proud to say Kuzvegi is a woman of color led tourism initiative. We are the change that we wish to see in the tourism industry. Our skills and knowledge combined as a team of women will make this program a success. You can support our project in two ways. Join our pilot program in June of 2022. As a participant, you pay for the school setup, accommodation, and all cultural activities. Or be a donor if you don't have the 30 days to join us. The funds will go to our pilot program, also create the museum and library to continue the ongoing cultural exchange, and also for project expansion in other communities in Mongolia or the rest of the world. Finally, I want to say that the Eagle Hunters invite you to join our camp. They want you to be a nomad and celebrate life with them. We hope that you join us because it is a true honor for Eagle Hunters to open their community entirely to the world. With that, we want to leave you with this 30-second video to invite you to join us next year at Kuzvegi Camp. Thank you, everyone. We hope to see you at our camp next year.
Isn't that amazing? It makes you really want to go to Mongolia immediately. What an amazing project, well deserved. So next, after Kushvegi Nomadic Camp, we have a winner in the growth track. The growth track is for founders who already have an existing viable product and wish to scale up. So the winner of the growth track is Khwela Women. And Khwela Women is a project where they believe that self-empowered women are change agents for their communities. And they want to connect a virtual community of approximately 100 self-empowered women who climb personally and professionally through access to experiential learning, credible education, as well as peer mentorship. And Khwela in Zulu means to climb. So a wonderful project, and I'm happy to have with me today Grizelda from South Africa, from the project, who will talk to us a little later. But first, let us see your video as well.
Khwela is Xhosa, my home language, means to climb. At Khwela, we believe that self-empowered women are change agents for their communities. And our vision is to connect virtually 100,000 self-empowered women who want to climb personally and professionally through access to experiential learning, credible education, as well as peer mentorship. In 2018, we launched our first pilot where we trained over 50 women in the tourism space. We taught them soft skills and hard skills and also took them on a road trip to understand the industry. In South Africa, tourism contributes towards employment with 45% each year. And with COVID, lockdowns and travel restrictions, the tourism in South Africa came crashing down with a lot of furloughs and retrenchments. Over 750,000 people in the tourism industry lost their jobs due to this, and the world moved towards working remotely. But tell me, how do we work remotely when you barely have access to running water and electricity with minimum network connectivity and internet? This led to a spike in unemployment, especially among the South African youth, with 63%. And meet Unela. Unela was part of Khwela and she was working for a tour operator and she got retrenched. At Khwela, we are now focusing on young women who worked in the tourism industry and have been retrenched. When we interviewed over 100 women in South Africa, we realized that they felt isolated, they don't have access to learning and opportunities, they lack support and a growth mindset to access the new digital world.
Now, interesting, when we analyzed Unela's customer journey, we realized she, like many South Africans, had a problem, and that was that she accessed the internet through her cell phone as opposed to a PC. Now, Unela, like many South Africans, also use WhatsApp as the most popular social media and messaging tool. So what did we do? We launched a chatbot called Alora. Alora is a virtual mentor and she works on the WhatsApp platform. To date, we've had almost 4,000 users gain traction on the platform and over 33,000 conversations. In order to facilitate support and a network for young women, we launched Sisterhood Circles. These are online weekly circles using the WhatsApp video platform, and we've had over 801 Sisterhood Circle members join us. Now, in 2020, I did my master's thesis on the African learning journey, and I unpacked what was it that made a road trip so successful in transforming the minds of young people. And I found that growth mindset, showing up, problem solving, courageous conversations, confidence, fear of failure, these were all themes that came up for young people during a road trip. And so we took these learnings and we launched the African Learning Journey. We've now got 120 women on the 12-month Imbocordal Management course, which we've launched in collaboration with GIFTS. They learn management and financial tools in order to succeed. In the roadmap, we have a collaboration with driving schools to empower female drivers to use platforms such as Bolt and Uber so that they can earn ancillary revenue and learn how to become entrepreneurs. Finally, in our roadmap, we have a 3-month photography and digital marketing course where we've partnered with Canon South Africa for the cameras. Why now? We focus on hard skills that are growing in demand, and we believe that people who've been retrenched from the tourism industry make incredible employees. Now, for women, all these products are free, from the chatbot to the transformational learning journey. How do you make money? Well, we work with the CETAs and Triple BE, broad-based Black Economic Empowerment, as well as our tax-deductible status, to get donations and funding from companies in order to do skills training. Our competitive market is full of people wanting to make a change, and we see a lot of them as partners. So what is our secret sauce and what makes us stand out? Well, what we do differently is that we are constantly obsessed with monitoring, evaluation, and learning. Every single day, we're looking at the numbers and we're looking at the data, and we're taking this to inform the curriculum that we are designing. Our team is small yet efficient. Being a startup means we're flexible and we take pride in sharing our lessons. I'm the entrepreneur.
And I'm the registered social worker who's obsessed with the empowerment of women. How much will it take to move the needle? So we need 11.2 million in order for us to take our vision and launch it.
So, will you...
Wow, another wonderful project, and also well-deserved for our growth track. And yeah, Sandra and Kim, whom you just saw in the video, they couldn't make it today, but we are more than happy to have Grizelda with us all the way from South Africa. Grizelda, can you just give us a short overview? What is your job in this small and very diverse team of Khwela women?
Hi, so yeah, I'm the operations manager for Khwela Women.
Wonderful. And how are you coping since you won the award? I mean, is the project still successfully running?
Yes, we are definitely still successful. Since we won the award, our bot users or mentor bot users are now over 6,000 women, and even our sisterhood circles, which is the support system, has grown to over 1,400 women. And then what we are currently focusing on is taking that Imbokodo management course and putting it on an LMS, just to ensure that we widen our reach and we can access as many women as possible.
So you're operating in all over South Africa, or is that mainly Cape Town area, or how do I have to imagine?
Yeah. So since our program is mostly online, women join from all over South Africa mainly, but we even have some members that are outside of South Africa as well.
Oh, okay. So and what, Grizelda, what are the main challenges? I mean, especially in South Africa, you know, there are a lot of problems when it comes to gender equality, when it comes to issues like diversity, accepting diversity, and so how well accepted is this kind of female empowerment through education, also by the male population or the families?
Yeah, so I think despite good strides in with gender equality in South Africa, women of color, especially young Black women, are still like disadvantaged in the ability to enter the job market and even remain in quality income opportunities, jobs, or even entrepreneurial ventures. So our interventions are created so that women can have access and support to upskill and break the stereotypes and question the status quo. So yes, there are still problems, but we teach them the soft skills to stand up for themselves, to show up, and to have a growth mindset.
Yeah, so in that way, you're also trying to increase, especially to get women of color represented in the tourism industry. Is it so?
Yes, exactly. So we focus on the tourism industry.
So what is your personal positive outlook in a way for South Africa?
Yeah, so I think we focus on young women that still has the opportunity to change. We believe that focusing on them and shifting their mindsets so that they can climb and challenge the status quo, they will go into the communities and change the community from within. So better, obviously, they are mostly the breadwinners. And the men will see this, and the men will, learn to respect them. And if they all stand together, a community is stronger than the individual.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. So we have another winner with us today, all the way from down under. Let's welcome Dr. Yasmine Gray. Yasmine, how is the situation in Australia? I mean, the rains are horrible. What is going on?
Oh, well, yeah, this is the effect of climate change. And yeah, I mean, we're having bad rains now. We had bad bushfires 2 years ago, but it's still a beautiful country and we still want to welcome everybody.
Yeah, I just wanted to know that we are really, our heart is with you. I mean, this is also, we all have to face these climate change consequences already. So, nevertheless, thank you for being with us. It's late night in Australia. Thank you that you've made it. Well, Dr. Yasmine Gray is the founding director of Getaboutable. Getaboutable is empowering travelers with disabilities and is helping like that the industry to cater to an underserved market. And as I read a quote of you, it says that 20% of the population really need accessible tourism. And I think this is also all the alleys, you know, and even people, I mean, with baby carriages, we all have to think as human beings, we all need help. But it's 20% of the population who really need accessible tourism. And it has to become a standard practice. Not only, sometimes we will have it, sometimes we won't. And Getaboutable is fighting for that. And I think before we dive into the questions, because I have some questions for you, let us see your video.
ITBBerlin is an Australian social enterprise that promotes accessibility and inclusivity in the tourism sector. People with mobility, vision, hearing and other accessibility needs are often overlooked by the tourism sector. Much of the industry doesn't realise how easy it is to cater to various accessibility needs. As a result, people with disability don't get to enjoy the tourism activities that most people take for granted. It's important to realise that people with disability have money to spend for services that cater to their needs, and that accessible tourism is a huge growing market. That's where GetAboutAble comes in. GetAboutAble is reducing inequality for people with disability by increasing accessible and inclusive tourism options and helping the industry cater to accessibility needs. This improves health and well-being for people with disability by reducing social isolation and improving self-esteem, as well as providing enjoyable life experiences. We imagine a world where people with disability are universally welcomed as tourism customers, and the tourism sector recognises people with disability and their travelling companions as a valuable market. There is also huge potential for accessible tourism to help in tourism recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as creating positive social change. Our flagship event is an annual conference on accessible and inclusive tourism in the Asia Pacific, or ACAP, being held again as a virtual conference in May 2022. ACAP 2021 set the standard for all accessible tourism conferences, according to Ivor Ambrose, Managing Director of the European Network for Accessible Tourism. This annual conference is designed to help the tourism industry understand and cater to the fast-growing, underserved market of travellers with accessibility needs, as well as showcasing accessible travel options in the Asia Pacific region. It provides advice, resources and support for tourism businesses wanting to cater to the 20% of travellers with accessibility needs. ACAP will be back in May 2022. Spread over 4 days with 2 to 3 hours of content per day. This year's conference mixes presentations, interviews, panel discussions and masterclasses to cover all relevant themes for professionals and travellers. The virtual format allows for full accessibility for all participants, with all content including captions and transcripts. There will be a live Q&A session, exclusive networking events, and a community platform for ongoing discussion. By attending ACAP 2022, you'll get to learn about the sector's enormous economic potential, Get the best insights on how to achieve accessibility and inclusiveness in your tourism business. Learn how to facilitate cooperation between stakeholders and promote accessible tourism destinations. Discover Asia Pacific's accessible and inclusive tourism offerings. Program details are available online at the link showing now. You can also scan the QR code using your mobile phone. ITB viewers who want to attend ACAP 2022 can quote ACAP 15 ITB for a discounted registration. We hope to see you there. Thank you for your attention.
Wow. So yeah, when you register with ITB, you'll even get a discount. That's wonderful, Jasmine. And yeah, we also have actually an accessible tourism day starting on Friday. We've been doing it with the German Tourism Association since many years, ITB and DZT. So yeah, I hope it will be an annual event in Australia as well, so that it will be really the international event or mainly for the Asian Pacific, right?
Yes, definitely in our region, in the Asia Pacific, we're far behind what's happening in Europe and North America with accessible tourism. You guys have at least a 20-year head start on us.
Thank you. Yeah, so on Friday, everybody can log in for the Accessible Tourism Day. And in May, you can log in with Jasmine and get about able. So I want to ask you shortly, how are you coping with the situation of COVID and all the consequences? You know, what is on resilience? Accessible tourism sometimes is overlooked, I think. They think that people do not start traveling. What is your opinion?
Well, first of all, as a business, when the whole world went into remote working, we felt very much welcome to our world. We'd been doing remote working for ages because it works much better for people with disability. So we feel like we had sort of a head start. And now with all the people working this way, the tools are so much better. And yeah, but in terms of tourism, it's very important to understand how valuable this market segment is, that we're nearly 3 times more valuable than the average tourist. And that's because we stay longer, we travel in larger groups with more companions, and we often go back to places that we find are accessible to us. And the sector is growing 3 times faster than the rest of tourism. I mean, think about the elderly population, but also the confidence of people with disability to be more active and participate in the general community.
Mm-hmm.
We're also more likely to travel off-peak. And so very often businesses that target accessible tourism market find that their midweek or off-peak seasons our shoulder, the depth of the curve is much less, and they can build a much more resilient year-round occupancy in their building. And
I think
also,
that's a very important information, actually, that you're really loyal customers. We're talking about loyal customers. Once you're doing it right, people will come back. And I think also there's still, what's still lacking is advertising. I mean, advertising also needs to include people with disabilities, travelers, you know. So maybe I can also ask you, like I consider, and ITB, we do consider people with disabilities also part of the discussion of DEI, I mean, diversity, equity, and inclusion. So, and I think Get About Able is a strong advocate also for to involve people with disabilities as consumers and employees. So what needs to be done to achieve that?
Absolutely. The marketing, less than 7% of people with disability have seen themselves represented in marketing for tourism products. You know, you're not going to go to something that you don't see welcomes you. And just like we look at diversity of all sorts of different groups, people with disabilities should be represented in the marketing. And only 2% of tourism businesses in our region put accessibility information online. So, I mean, this is very basic information to us, almost as basic as, opening hours for a museum, for instance. And so whether it be product design and marketing, or customer service and staff training, or even employment, include people with disabilities, because you'll get new insights, you'll learn how to better cater to the market. And in fact, even in employing people with disabilities, it's actually a very, not just loyal customer base, but a loyal employment base. And, just as a lot of people have lost their jobs in tourism with the start of the pandemic, now that tourism is rebuilding, at least in Australia, we're finding difficulty rebuilding that staff because a lot of people have moved to different sectors. Mm-hmm. And it's a part of the employment market that is often overlooked just as much as a traveling market.
Mm-hmm. Yasmine, thank you for these wonderful insights and valuable insights. I think we really have to continue that conversation. There will be plenty of options. Next year, we'll have a physical ITB. I really believe that. So I hope I will see you all here with us at ITB in Berlin. Thank you so much for being with us. I'm very sorry, but we have to finish. If you want to apply for the Entrepreneurship Award, please go to socialtourismcompetition.com, and all the other information also on the To Do Award will be found at ITB CSR on our website. So thank you for listening to us. Thank you for sharing with us all your knowledge and these amazing projects. Thank you once again, and see you next year in ITB Berlin physically. Bye.